Okay, so good evening, everyone, and welcome to the launch event of Dr. Ami Shah's book, Becoming the Light from Angst to Awakening. So my name is Emily Myers, and I'm very grateful to be moderating the event this evening, as well as assisting you all with any questions or comments that you may have as we go through this event. So let me just start with a few announcements, just a few housekeeping items. So first off, please silence all of your devices at this time. You are already muted on Zoom, but you will be able to unmute yourself once we begin the Q&A segment of this event, which will be at the end of the session. Also, we encourage that you please keep your video on, as it makes the event more interactive and engaging for both the speakers and the audience. So the agenda for tonight is as follows. I will set the intention for the evening. I will introduce Dr. Ami Shah, and then she will read and interpret 3 poems for us, which will be followed by our Q&A session at the end of the event. So we welcome all of these questions and comments, even if they may seem unresolved or troublesome as you read or interpret something from your own perspective. And as these questions or comments kind of arise to you, please just feel free to throw them into the chat box, and I will make sure to get those to Dr. Shah by the end of the event to my best ability, so that we will address all of those in discussion. So this book is published by Sonder House Publishing and is available for purchase on Amazon at this time throughout different countries. So 100% of the proceeds from this book will go to St. Jude's Charity. So if you don't already have a copy, this is incentive for you to purchase a copy and do something great for yourself that you will absolutely love. So as I say this, allow me to please share my screen to introduce the next segment of this event. Just one moment. Okay. So here I have laminated bookmarks that Dr. Shah will be mailing out to those who have already purchased the book. So in order to receive one of these poems, you will receive a bookmark that features one of 9 empowering poems that were Dr. Shah's originals, and she will sign each bookmark. So these are laminated, and to go about receiving one, once you have a copy of the book, you will just need to provide us with a proof of purchase. So what can qualify as a proof of purchase would be just simply a screenshot of your Amazon order receipt once you purchase the book, or say if someone purchased the book for you, simply a picture of your copy will do. I will provide my email address within this chat so that once I'm done speaking, you can just copy down my email address and email either one of those pictures to me is fine, along with your mailing address. So that way we can get this bookmark out to you as soon as possible. Along with that as well, we just also want to disclose that we are not going to use any of your private information, photos, mailing address, anything beyond the purpose of the book signing. So due to the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, and all of the social distancing measures in place, we are doing this in lieu of an in-person book signing event. Okay, so now that these housekeeping items are out of the way, I would like to set our intention for tonight's event. Clearly, healing is essential in our world today. Self-empowerment is also essential, and community building is absolutely needed at this time. Amanda Gorman just showed us the promise of poetry in this country at a very fractious time. Therefore, we welcome you and appreciate the time that you have taken to join this conversation of healing through the arts. What is beautiful about poetry is that it takes us places words cannot reach. That is beyond arguments, righteousness, and friction that are going on in the world today due to the pandemic and social unrest at this time. The flow of poetry, its tenderness, and the images that poetry conjures can transform us and transport us to a place of peace, interconnectedness, appreciation of beauty in the world, and recognizing the limitless abundance that is available to all of us. So this is essentially the message Dr. Shah is communicating in her book for all of us to receive. We hope tonight leaves you feeling really good, feeling a sense of healing and a strong sense of connection. Dr. Shah is going to sow some seeds tonight for us to explore on our spiritual journey beyond this evening. So this work speaks to a lot of diverse groups, which we are very thankful to be here with this evening. We would love to honor your presence here tonight. So I'm going to mention the groups that are present with us in our audience, consisting of people from various parts of the US, Canada, Costa Rica, Brazil, South Africa, Australia, Israel, Turkey, India, Ireland, Dubai, and more. We appreciate people making allowances for time zones and being here with us present on this call, as well as participating remotely. This work speaks to a variety of demographics, as today we have here members from 5 poetry and writers groups, 3 artist groups, 2 spiritual communities, 3 holistic healing communities, 2 women's empowerment and leadership groups, a few internations communities, 3 fitness and yoga groups, several corporate professionals, medical professionals, professors, students, and even a couple of police and first responders here with us this evening. So, all right, we are glad to have all of you here. That was a lengthy list of individuals. We are very grateful to be staying here tonight. So given the diversity of this audience, we may kind of see a lot of different perspectives and viewpoints and questions and comments once you hear all of these beautiful poems, you hear the interpretations and the work given. So feel free to share any of those questions and comments again in the chat, even if they may seem troublesome or unresolved. And as a reminder, I will be sure to address those with Dr. Shah by the end of the evening for us to have a discussion on. So without further ado, allow me to introduce our lovely author, Dr. Ami Shah. So Dr. Ami P. Shah is a professor of health sciences and director of the Cross-Cultural Speech, Language, and Acoustics Lab at Stockton University. She is a leader and pioneer in speech-language pathology and creating an evidence-based area of practice around cultural linguistic diversity and accent management, which is so important in our world today. In the world of poetry, Ami Shah has published her poems in many magazines and conducted poetry readings at venues such as the New Yorker Cafe and the Central Park Bandshell in New York City, Barnes & Noble bookstores in New York City and Ohio, Crossroads Bookstore in Bombay, New York University and City University of New York, Center for Spiritual Living in Delaware, and music or art festivals such as the Montreal Jazz Festival, Ingenuity Festival of Cleveland, Ohio, and St. Xavier's College Malhar Fest in India. Poetry is the vehicle that Ami uses to cross over from the hard facts and logical world of science and academia to the softer side of spirituality, human psyche, and the wellspring of creative arts. Her poetry helps people heal and find meaning through troubled times. She is frequently invited to do poetry readings in spiritual, mind-body connection groups, healing and self-development circles, and local events and festivals. In addition to poetry, she also enjoys life through other artistic expressions such as visual art, photography, and painting. Some of her photography and drawings are included in this book to provide a visual accompaniment to create a visceral experience for the reader. From a neuroscience perspective, visual imagery helps retain and recall important messages by building deeper connections in the brain. It is hoped that the images that you see tonight, and once you have a copy of the book, will help readers remember some of the takeaways from these poems, and I'm sure that you all will. So without further ado, I'm going to turn this conversation over to Dr. Shah.
Thank you,